can't stop. A family shop. Think Thayer. Come on, let's get rolling. Come on, let's get moving. Think Thayer.
Hello, welcome to Falcon Weekly here on BGSUFalcons.com. I'm Evan Pivnik, joined by the head coach of the Bowling Green Falcons, Chris Bergeron. Coach, this past weekend, the trek to Alaska, the second time the team has made the trip this year, but this time to Fairbanks. Able to come away with a split. It was a tough result Friday night, but the team was able to bounce back Saturday night. Just talk about the weekend as a whole.
Well, we actually think after watching the tape and kind of getting home and looking at it from a rational standpoint that it wasn't a bad weekend at all. We felt like we created a bunch of opportunities on Friday night. We weren't as good around their net, obviously, based on the number of goals we scored. We found ourselves on the wrong side of that play a couple of too many times on Friday, and it resulted in a goal with 10 seconds to go in the game when it looked like we were going to find a way to win that game on the power play. That, unfortunately, has been their second half. The other part that's been our second half is we've been able to respond from that effort, from that result, and do better and get the result you're looking for the next night, which we were able to do. We were better around the other team's net. We didn't create as many opportunities, but we obviously scored more. We didn't give up as many opportunities either. All in all, Evan, it wasn't a case of two different games. It was probably 4.5, 5 decent periods for us, from our perspective. But still, to find a way to lose that game on Friday was disappointing. And then for our guys to be able to pick themselves up and play better Saturday and find a way to get the result, it was encouraging. The issue that we've got, and our guys know this, and everybody does, is we've got 4 games left in the regular season, and we've got 2 games in the playoffs that are guaranteed. Other than that, we're running out of time for the 15-16 team, and that's something you've got to find a way to be more consistent at this time of year because the opportunities are going away, and we want to keep playing.
How does that win on Saturday night go into that final stretch of the season? How does that do for the team?
Well, I'd like to say it's going to give us a bunch of momentum, but I almost thought that win on Saturday night at Mankato was going to do that, and it didn't. So I'm hoping, Evan, that it shows us again with an intensity and a desperate focus and some execution with that. We can score goals. We can be a pretty good team, but it's not something you can just turn it off and on. And when you step on the ice in a 1-1 tie on the power play with 30 seconds to go in a game, you can't go out there loose. You've got to go out there focused. You've got to go out there knowing the situation and be ready to execute at a high level. And we've that's just one example of us kind of being a little bit in and out when it comes to that. So we focus on what we can control, which again was today, and knowing that our last game we did a pretty good job. So we're hoping that the focus was last game, yes, but we can find a level of consistency here for the stretch run.
Now, coming off of this Alaska trip, going into this weekend against Ferry State, does anything change throughout the week to make sure the fatigue does not?
I don't think there's a right answer. I think there's an opinion, and our opinion is we were pulling back on practice in terms of minutes and time anyway. Obviously, the Sunday's off because you don't get home until 6 o'clock at night. Monday's off, which would act as a normal Sunday, and then today was a kind of a 30-minute hybrid of what Monday, Tuesday would normally look like. So I think they're getting their rest before and after practice when normally we would be doing something before or after in terms of minutes. So that's what we're going to go with. It's going to be a tough series this weekend. Ferris plays us hard. They play everybody hard. They every inch on the ice is difficult to come by. And I don't think we can be lethargic with that. So I do think we're going to try to work the weekend out of us in terms of the travel. It doesn't have to be an hour long, but for that 30 or 35 or 40 minutes, whatever it is, we want to make sure that we're ready because I know Ferris is going to be ready.
You mentioned Ferris State and how they play the puck. They're a team that's right in the conversation for the top spot of the conference as well. Just what do you like from Bob Daniel's team?
Well, from Bob Daniels' program, as long as I've been a part of, whether it be the CCHA, the WCHA, is they're just every year they're in the conversation. They recruit kids that believe and want to be at Ferris. They play the game a certain way, which starts with work, as far as I'm concerned. And they've got more talent than people give them credit for, which that doesn't include me or us. We know how talented they are. We've played them in playoff series. We played them a bunch in the regular season. They're a team that obviously came from the CCHA with us, so there's a rivalry there. And in this particular situation, they're both teams are fighting for a regular season championship and home ice in the playoffs and so on. I'm looking forward to it. The talk to our players today was, you guys better be ready, because Ferris is going to be ready, and it's going to be one of those, my words, a fist fight, where we have to be ready to go, because they compete real hard. They've got, I think, really strong goaltending, even though he's a young guy. At least that's what it looks like, and they defend well. Then you take your foot off the gas from a defensive standpoint yourself, and they've got guys that can hurt you scoring wise. So lots of reasons to like their team, but this isn't new, right? They've been in the conversation for a long time.
Now going into this weekend as well, it's also the final regular season weekend at home for the Falcons, so it means the senior weekend as well. What did you like? What did you say about the senior group sort of graduating this year?
Well, the best way for us to wrap up these 5 guys is that they're leaving Bowling Green better than they found it. They all chose to come here during a different time. The words I use is that, you're usually, these kids at 16, 17 are looking for the cool place to go, and we weren't the cool decision at that time. The perception was not very positive. So they took a chance on us, and that is a humbling statement for me and for Barry and Ty and I, and what they walked into was not quite what it is today. And they've been, for the 4 years they've been here, they've been a huge part of putting this program back on the map, back in the conversation where we think it belongs. So leaving it better than they found it is first and foremost. And the work that they've put in from the day they got here until the day they are leaving has set an example for the people coming behind them.
Only 4 games left in the regular season for the Bowling Green Falcons. This weekend, the final home series for the regular season, Friday night and Saturday night, 7:07 at the Ice Arena against the Ferris State Bulldogs. Coach, appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.